Hey everyone, my name is Jordan Hutton, one of the deans at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade week, and we want to start off by saying a huge thank you to you. As volunteers, we are so thankful for all that you do, and the word that comes to mind is the word offering. And you may not think about that word with what you're doing here as a volunteer, but you are offering so much of yourself to be here at camp. You're offering your time, your family, your resources, and it's exhausting sometimes. But man, I know that God is going to do awesome things through your offering. As you offer all of this to camp and to these kiddos, you're offering it to God as an act of worship. And I know that He's going to fill you up this week at camp. And so I want to encourage you to open up your heart to what God has for you this week. That this week would be a spiritual journey for you as much as it is for a camper. And that as you pour yourself out, that you would impact kids in a way that is incredible. And that God would fill you up. And that this week would be an incredible blessing to you in your life. We love you. We're so thankful for you. It's going to be a great week of camp.
I'm CJ Sweeney. I'm excited about camp. Brandon mentioned I've been a part of camp for a long time. I've been a part of this week probably 13, 14 years, and I'm just so excited every year to be a part of camp and just to see the impact that this week can bring. One of the roles that I'm going to be doing this week at camp is I want to be a resource for you all. So that I want to be there for you so that you can be there for the kids. In the self-care section in our binder, it talks a little bit about how sometimes we're going to have some hard conversations with kids that we see kids go through experiences that honestly they shouldn't have to. But we don't live in a perfect world, and there are a lot of things that kids go through on a daily basis. That's hard to hear sometimes, hard to know what to say. And I want to be a resource for you and pray with you, talk it out. You don't have to carry that by yourself, and you don't have to just come to me. You talk with your other faculty and just talk about it. Get it out there. Pray with each other, encourage one another. I want to read John 15:4. It says, "Abide in me, and I in you. As a branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, and you are the branches, and whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." And I pulled out that passage for a reason, because I'm a big believer in when we're serving and when we're giving, we're giving effectively when we're giving out of our overflow. When we are connected to Christ and we are with Him, right? If we abide in Him, if we're not overflowing, then we're just going to be poured out, and we're not going to be giving effectively. So this week at camp, I just want to encourage you on that self-care idea to be present in worship, to be present in the teachings and what's going on, because those teachings aren't just for the kids, right? They're for us as well, and we can learn and grow from those moments as well. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to camp and I just get there and I'm in the moment, I'm in worship and I'm learning, and I needed this, right? As much as I want to be there for the kids and serve this, I needed that moment. I needed that worship moment. I needed that connection with God, that time to get closer to Him. So to be present in those times and just be present throughout the week. One of the things that is a benefit, but also not so much at times, is there is cell phone reception now at camp. It used to be nothing, right? But so that temptation is there to be on your phone. But we just want to be present, be with the kids, setting that example in worship and learning and growing. They see you learning and growing, and they're going to do the same. So just important to take time to be there, to be present. There is some things for us as far as self-care. There's going to be a rest station for faculty. We did that last year. Kenzie did a great job setting that up. That's just a place that we can just get away for a moment. And we want it to just be a moment. We don't want to be hanging out there all day, but just a place for you all with everything going on. If you just need a moment to chill for a second, refocus, and then get back with your family. I just want to encourage you to utilize that. Also, sleep is very important at camp. I am the father of 2 twin-year-olds that are about a little over a year and a half, so I sleep whenever I can because I'm always exhausted with them. But I just want to encourage you guys, during those moments of rest and sleep, get some sleep. You're going to need it by the end of the week. You think you're invincible on Monday, but then Friday comes along and you're just dead. So just take time to rest, get some sleep. We're going to ask that nobody be up at the cafeteria past midnight. Just get in your bunks and get some sleep. Take advantage of rest time, nap times. Work it out with your family members if you need a moment, to go get a 10-minute nap or something like that. But just try to get some rest. I've seen some really great faculty who were really great on Monday, and then Thursday and Friday, they're grouchy, they're irritable, and they're not working with the kids as well as they should. Just get some sleep. Work on that. If you need anything that week, you need prayer, anything, come see me. I'd be glad to pray with you, talk through anything. And like I said, I just want to be there for you so that you can be there for the kids.
Hey, my name is David Bigelow, and my first experience at camp was being a family leader, and it transformed my life. You see, as a family leader at camp, your role is one of the most intentional and hands-on roles that you can play at camp, period. Because your responsibility as a family leader is to make sure that students know that that's a safe place for them, to set the tone for how students apply what they're hearing, to coach and to cheer them through every activity and moment throughout the day, to lead them through discussion by challenging them to a deeper place. It also involves you helping them get from one place to the other. And it means that you know their name, you know their story, and you know what God's doing in their life. You see, a student won't feel known until someone knows them. And that's your role as a family leader. And so what we want to do through this quick training is to give you some hands-on practical things that can help you understand the role and also the expectation of a leader. Because our desire is for students to do more than just listen and to regurgitate an answer, but we want them to engage with the topic before them. We want them to think about it, to share about it, to ask good questions, to debate it, to own it, and to make it their own. Although the temptation sometimes in family time is just to kind of hang out, we want students to apply what it is that they're hearing through a real, relational, and honest environment about what Jesus is doing in their life. And so that begins each day with your time as you greet students at breakfast. You are their person for the week. And so make sure that they see you. After that, you'll have an opportunity to lead them through devotions. Inside of your leader handbook, you will see those devotions laid out for you. We want you to be practicing, to be owning, looking over those things to help lead your middle school students in how to discover God through the Bible, how to see Him working through the page, and how they can apply that to their own life. This is your opportunity to make it come to life for them in a real and personal way. Throughout the day, you'll have the opportunity to be on the zip line with them, climbing the rock wall, or simply just hanging out in the pool, or maybe next to the pool because they're not quite comfortable to get in just yet. Your role throughout the day is to coach and to encourage them and to celebrate the things that are happening. As we move into the evening time, you'll have opportunities to play silly games with them. You'll have the ability to be able to discuss what they just heard in the session. And then at the end of the night, to sit underneath the stars and to talk about what is Jesus doing in their life. You see, every moment that we're gathered in a circle is a moment in which we can be transparent and real and honest with each other. And so as a family leader, we want you to come prepared. So don't wait until the last minute to look over your devotionals or rush around and try to get all your supplies together. Take that time now to take a look at your leader binder, to get those things in place, and to come ready to lead your family. Take the time now to talk with those that you're going to be leading a family with, because you've been placed with a group of people that have the same heart that you do to love students. And so we want you to understand each other's roles. We want you to understand each other's strengths and their weaknesses. Talk about how you can share responsibilities. It's not for you to just lead every family time on your own. You've got a great team that you get to share that with. Remember that your voice and your leadership is great, but the real win is when students get to verbalize what they're learning, what they're feeling, and how they're processing what's going on around them. And you have an opportunity to encourage that. Whether you have a group of chatty Cathys, or you've got a group of silent Stephens, or maybe some really distracted Davids, your leader guide will give you some information about how to empower and to encourage those students to engage in what's going on inside of your group time and throughout the day. Lastly, this, you have an opportunity this week to say and do meaningful things in the life of a student. Don't forget the power of what it means to say, "I'm proud of you, Jimmy," or "Charlie, I'm so thankful that you're here," or "Claire, I see what Jesus is doing in your life." You as a leader have a lot of responsibilities, but nothing more important than helping students to grow in their faith with Jesus Christ. Be intentional with the moments that matter. Look for the places that you can engage students on their level and lead them to have a week at camp that they'll remember for a long, long time. The truth is, they might not remember every devotional that's shared or every teaching that's been had, but they will remember the people that were there. They'll remember you and the relationship that you had with them that led them to a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ. So thank you for leading a family this year at camp.
Just as the video said, and it's a good-looking brother up there. No, I'm kidding. His teeth are a lot whiter, it looks like, in that video than what it is here. But good filter, Jordan. Thank you for that. But I want to say thank you for who you are, because I know that who you are is what has led you to an opportunity to serve at a week at camp like this. This is a big sacrifice as a family leader, especially as a nurse, as someone who's helping with worship or all of these things. It's an intentional time where you have to give up something so that you can do something else, whether that's work or a family vacation or your own sanity for that week, and to love students well. Like I shared, leading a family is what changed the trajectory of my life. I led my first family as someone who didn't know who Jesus was, actually. And Jesus had a talk with me that week about why I needed to know him and to help others to know him in that same way. And so what I want to do for just about 10 minutes is I want to just walk you through some of those expectations as a family leader, and ultimately just policy for how you as a leader at this week of camp are called to lead. And so if you would, turn in your flippity book here to page 3. It's going to be camp policy and expectations for faculty. And you're going to see that it's a 2-page spread. One of these is camp policies and expectations for faculty, and then there's an extension of that for junior faculty, which junior faculty, you're going to talk about that during the break here in just a little bit. But right now, right after you get past the maps, you'll see this camp policy and expectations. I want to just breeze through this really quickly so you understand what are some of the boundaries when it comes to leading at a week of camp. So first of all, you are called to be an example of the love of Christ in your actions, in your language, in your interactions with campers, staff, and peers. That means that what you do in front of campers, right, should also be the way that you act and who you are with your friends off to the side. Students, especially junior faculty, our campers need to see high schoolers who know who God is. and are following him and trusting him with their life. In the same way, our adults, you guys set the example in the way in which we love and lead in all aspects, not just in our family time devotionals, but in all areas that we live and walk in at camp. Faculty are to ensure appropriate supervision of campers at all times. Again, you are these campers' person. The people that belong to your group, the people that are in your nurses station, the people that are in your class, the people that are with you on the zip line, you own and you're responsible for them this week. And so know what their needs are and be looking for them. If one of them doesn't show up to group, we need to figure out where they are, right? If one of them doesn't want to go on the zip line, that doesn't mean that we say, okay, yeah, just go hang out in the gazebo, and we have no plan for where they are or what they're doing or helping them to have the win. Faculty, though, should never find themselves alone with a camper. I'll just make that really clear again. Faculty, at no point during this week should you ever find yourself one-on-one with a camper, whether that is in a dorm, in a bathroom space, out on a walk somewhere. We like to use a phrase called publicly private, right? Where there are times that we need to have a private conversation, but that we do that in a public space. For an example, within our nurses' cabin, when we have a situation where it's an opposite gender, we open the door to make sure it's there. Now, there are some things in the nurses' cabin that we definitely need to close the door for, and in those situations, we want to make sure somebody's in there with us when we do that. But in the same way with our counseling and the way that we lead our students and lead our families, if we need to have a one-on-one conversation, we grab another leader to share in that with us. We make sure that there's another student that is present in there. And sometimes that causes us to look a little silly. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've been going to or wanted to go to the bathroom inside of a boys' dorm, and then all of a sudden here comes some young middle school kid flying into the dorm by himself, which kids should never be in dorms by themselves. And then I got to be like, okay, I got to leave, right? And then I got to go find somebody to bring them in so that way we can make sure that we don't have me and someone else in a dorm alone. The whole idea behind it is to eliminate opportunity for there to ever be an accusation of inappropriate behavior or action or things that were said or not said. It's not because you're not trusted. It's because we want to live above reproach. And so with that, we want to make sure that members of the opposite dorms are never allowed into the different dorm that's not their gender. Same thing with campers and faculty are expected to dress appropriately. And you'll see the different guidelines that come from the policy book at camp. And ladies and men, I know that there are times that this is one of those battles in the morning that we work through in our dorms, right? Where we pack shorts that are a little too short, or we pack a swimsuit that maybe not be a part of the policy. And I want you to know that we want to work together on that, and we want to do those things in love, which means that we need to have relationship to be able to address those things before we walk up to a young lady or to a young man and we say, those shorts are too short in front of everyone. No, that's not relationship. We take the student aside and we have a conversation alongside of one of our female deans or alongside of one of our female leaders, and we work through that together. The same thing goes in the way in which we address things that students may bring that are not supposed to be at camp, right? I can't tell you how many times that we have found pocket knives because we're out in the country and these kids go to West Wash and Salem. A pocket knife is a part of what they do with their life. It's okay. But it's not okay to have a pocket knife at camp. And so please be mindful. If you've got a young man or a young lady who's got a blade on them, we need to address that in love and to work through making sure that that gets put in an appropriate place. In the same way, firecrackers. If we're in our dorm and we find a student, the only reason we bring it up because it's a thing. If you find a student that's got firecrackers in their bag, let's handle that in love and let's work through that and make sure that they don't have firecrackers in their bag anymore. Again, all of these things are opportunities for safety, not because they're a part of something that we don't trust our students with or we don't trust you with, but ultimately because we want to live above reproach and be in safe environments. Faculty are not permitted to leave campus without approval from a dean. Staff, adults, deans, junior faculty. You guys will have a separate conversation in a minute, junior faculty, but at no point should you leave camp to do anything without letting a dean know, because we want to know where you are just in case there's something we need to deal with or things that we need to cover. In the same way, students are not allowed to just come and go when it comes to being at camp. It's less of an issue with middle school week, more of a bit of an issue when it comes to high school week when they have licenses and things like that. But again, I want to make sure that we understand that we communicate if we're going to leave, and any absences that you already know about need to be communicated with your dean ahead of time. You can continue on here. You can look at medication. You can look at food that's not permitted in the dorms. You can look at the policy on cell phones and iPads and other devices. And just like CJ said, we want to encourage you to refrain from using yours as well. We always encourage leaders to please consider going to the dollar store and buying a watch for your wrist. And what that does is it prevents you from having to do this all day long to check what time it is or where you need to go. Go and pick up a dollar store watch so that way you can just see it, know what time it is, and where you need to go. Now, naturally, there's a bell and people that'll make sure that you stay on time like Brandon and Jackie. But again, we want to eliminate the opportunities for distraction during this week as much as we can and come alongside of students and to be present in the life for them. And then lastly, the child abuse line in here. At any point that a student discloses to you a situation of harm to themselves, of harm that has been done to them, or harm that they plan to do to someone else, whether it seems crazy or not, that needs to be shared immediately, as in at the earliest possible convenience in the most appropriate way with a dean. We have faculty that are a part of counseling at both of these weeks that will work through those things in healthy and appropriate ways. But you as a family leader, you as a worship leader, you as a nurse, or any of your roles that you carry, you are not a secret keeper. This is not your job. Your job is to love students, and sometimes one of the best ways that we can love students is helping them to walk through situations that they have been defeated in, situations that they feel like there's no escape in, or situations that they're planning things that are not helpful or healthy for them. And so please make sure that you do not keep secrets, but things that need to be shared and not kept to yourself. Now, those are simple policies. You can read further into those, and I know that there's other policies and things that we could talk about in this space, but I don't want to spend all of our time there. I do want us to really quickly just jump over to our faculty expectations. So if you go towards the second half of your binder, you're going to find a space called Leading a Family Team. It's going to be directly after your dorm leading assignment, Leading a Family Team. And within that, you're going to see some roles that we want our family leaders to have, such as coaching, developing, encouraging, cheerleading, knowing the students' names in your group, helping students to take their next step of faith, knowing that as a family leader, this is not something that you just want to fake it till you make it, but you want to own it and we want it to be yours. In the same way, in the way that we lead our family discussions or our devotions, we want to be prepared in advance for those so that way we can do those things well. We want to make it real. We want to be excited about what it is that we're learning and making sure that we're present mentally, that we're present physically for our group time, and ultimately that we can be present spiritually for them as we help them to take their next step. Family leaders, we want you to share the load with each other. There should not be one person that does all the talking during a week of camp. All of you are equipped and ready to lead a family time. All of you are equipped and ready to lead a discussion. And I know that we all have our different strengths, but we want to make sure that we share the load appropriately with each other. And the same thing with supplies. You'll see there that there's a few places that we want you to consider bringing supplies, such as the watch I talked about earlier, pens, extra pens, because they're going to lose pens and then they're going to lose more pens. If you are a female dorm leader, right, there's different things that you can bring when it comes to sanitation pieces for ladies and young ladies that you can consider bringing in your team bag. I love that at our week of camp, the main style is backpacks. When I see our family leaders, I see them all have a backpack or something that they carry around with them throughout the week. And so if you don't have a backpack or something that you can carry around, I encourage you to consider going to get one of those. It'll be super helpful while you're there at camp to carry the things that you need and to make sure that you have all of the things that you could potentially need for a student. Make sure that we're managing our group dynamics. You heard me talk about that real quickly in the video. You're going to have Silent Stevens. You're going to have Chatty Cathy's. You're going to have Distracted Davids. And there's some tools within that to kind of help you and some prompts to give you some tools to get them past their distraction or get them past their introvertedness or to help them to kind of slow down a little bit and to be present within their group. Always know what's coming next for your families. Know the schedule. Know where you're sending them. Know the things that they need in advance. Help students identify their next thing or their next step or their next place. I can't tell you how freeing that is for a student. I can tell you how freeing it is as an adult to know what's coming next. And being able to articulate that is very, very helpful. And pray together. Don't miss the opportunities to pray, whether that's in the morning at breakfast or before you eat lunch or before you end your day or before you get on the zip line and you got 3 out of the 7 or 10 kids that you have just shaking in their boots to get on the zip line. Take a minute and pray. Let prayer be a part of what you do. Don't get so busy in the things that are coming next that you forget to stop and pray. Know that middle school and high school students, they watch how you pray. Just like the disciples watched Jesus. And when they see you and they hear you taking time and audibly thanking the Lord for the things, that's an encouragement for them. And what you're going to find is that whoever they listen to the most pray is the person that they're going to pray like. I've seen it over 10 years of ministry that they will model what it is that they hear and see. And so you have this unique opportunity to model things like prayer, model things like Bible reading, model things like worship and praise. And you also have the opportunity to finish well. And that's the piece that I cannot encourage you enough in, and it's what I'm going to finish with, is don't forget to tell students how proud you are of them. Don't forget to thank them for being there. Don't forget to celebrate the little stuff. Because for a lot of our students, middle school and high school, that come to weeks of camp like this, that could be the first time anyone's ever said something like that to them in a long time. And when you celebrate things in the life of a student, middle school or high school, they will naturally want to do that more. We have a saying that we say around here, which is, what you celebrate is what you'll see. So if a student gets out of bed on time, Johnny, I'm so stinking proud of you for getting out of bed on time, man. Max, dude, I'm so thankful that you changed your shirt today. Addie, that was a beautiful prayer. Thank you for talking to God that way and sharing that with us. Josie, I know that when you're at camp, you get really nervous. And that when you get nervous, sometimes it's hard to eat. I'm so proud of you for finishing your cornflake chicken tonight. Look for something to celebrate. It doesn't have to be a big thing. And know that that will change the tone of a group. It'll change the tone of a situation. And you as a family leader, as a leader at this week of camp, that is what you have been charged to do. Set the tone, lead well, and know the things that God has prepared in advance. He will see you through it all.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenzie Hutton and we are here at Wonder Valley, and today I'm excited to share with you just a couple of ideas about leading a dorm and how we can really take advantage of that opportunity that God has given us to invest even more deeply into the lives of campers that are entrusted to our care throughout the week. So I've had the opportunity to lead a dorm several years in a row. It's one of my very favorite responsibilities of being here at camp, and I hope that this video will help give you those resources and confidence that you need to really do that in a way that's meaningful and impactful for our campers. So first, I just wanted to share the heart of kind of why it matters. You're leading a dorm and it feels a little bit mundane. That kids, this is just kind of where they sleep and there's not a lot going on in there. But what we know is that God works in those ordinary, mundane moments. And so our prayer is that God would open our eyes to those opportunities to see kids in those mundane moments and to really invest and encourage them. So don't miss that opportunity to model the love of Jesus to kiddos during transitions from one event to the other, in the morning, before they go to bed. All of that is so important. It's really your responsibility as a dorm leader to create an environment where kids feel safe, they feel seen, and they feel loved. And so this is home for our campers for the next 5 days. And so it's really a large responsibility to be able to ensure that our campers get the physical rest that they need so that God can work in their hearts and that they can invest deeply into the teaching that's being led this week. So the tone and the culture that is set within the walls of your dorm will encourage transparency or growth, or it will squash it. And so it really is an important role, and we're so excited that you've stepped into this role this week. So before you even get to camp, there's a couple of things that you can do. I want you to resource your leader binder. There's some great ideas in there about how you can be thoughtful in setting up your dorm, with very specific information about where faculty are positioned throughout the dorm and what supplies you should plan to bring for the week. So I would really encourage you to meet with your other dorm leaders, get to know one another, pray together, and talk about how you can make preparations now for a really successful week. So resource your binder for more information about that. All right, let's talk a little bit about day one of camp and just being present when campers and parents first arrive. I know for me as a faculty, even on day one of camp, I can feel a little bit anxious about what the week is going to hold. And there are certainly campers and parents that feel that same anxiety. And so as a dorm leader, you are the friendly face that they see when they walk into the dorm that can provide confidence to parents and families as they're dropping off their camper for the week. So it's really important that you are there welcoming campers with a friendly face, giving specific instructions, offering help, and answering parent questions really confidently. We are so thankful that parents have entrusted their children to our care over the next 5 days. And so we want to be able to answer any questions that they have and really just provide comfort for them as they are getting ready to leave their camper for the next week. All right, so just a quick flyby. That's kind of day one. Throughout the week, there are several responsibilities of a dorm leader that you're going to become really familiar with. So I just kind of want to give you a flyby of the full day. So certainly when we first wake up in the morning, you are the first interaction with an adult that child has. And so we want them to know that they are seen and loved and important from the very moment that they wake up their eyes in the morning. So there are some things that you can do to make that an important connecting time, and there are some more resources in your binder for that. But really there are moments of connection that you can create throughout the day. Don't miss the opportunity. The dorm is in a way an extended family that you are entrusted with for this week. And so look for those moments where you can provide connection for campers, whether they are having a hard day because they're missing home, or they've had a day of just kind of some complicated social interactions or peer interactions and they're feeling overwhelmed, or they're feeling anxious about going on the zip line. You can be that person that comes alongside them, that sees them in that moment and comes to meet them at that level, and to really invest into them, pray over them in that moment. So don't miss those opportunities. We want to encourage smooth transitions from one event to another throughout the day. Dorm leaders are so essential for helping camp run on a schedule really smoothly. So you're providing prompts to campers about how much time they have left to prepare for an event. You're giving them reminders about what they need to take to the next event. And we have some campers that really struggle with multi-step instructions. So it's really helpful for a dorm leader to come alongside and see them in those moments. And then the very specifics about showering and routine hygiene and those kind of things. We want to be providing support and assistance as needed, with just reminders about those kind of things as well. Rest time, there's some specific information in your leader binder about rest time that I want you to read through. Rest time is a gift for faculty and for campers alike, and so we really want that time to be just an important time for everyone on campus. So read through some of that information. There's also some specifics about missing home, a script for kind of how you could respond to a child who's really feeling overwhelmed with feelings of missing home. So resource some of that in your binder as well. And then the last thing that we want to talk about is just closing procedures. So at the very beginning of the week, you are the face that the parent sees when they are dropping off their camper. And we're so excited that when we get to see that parent at the end of the week to celebrate what a great week of camp that their camper had. And so just know at the end of the week, our procedure is that our campers are in the dorms as they're waiting for their caregiver to come and pick them up. So there'll be some more specific instructions about that, but that's going to be a special time for dorm leaders and campers to really finalize everything that they need to and be able to connect back with those parents and share those celebrations and victories throughout the week. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Certainly resource your binder for additional information. Let us know if you have additional questions, and thank you so much for your willingness to serve as a dorm leader. We are praying over you. We're praying that we see those opportunities for mundane moments, that we know that God is working in the hearts of our campers during those moments. So thank you for your willingness to serve in that way.
All right, so mics aren't my specialty, but dorm leading is. So in your pamphlet, the stapled one with the pretty picture on the front for our themes, you will find at the very back on the last 2 pages what dorm you are in. Whether you are at main camp or up the hill is Macedonia. So take a look at that, see who you're going to be with really quickly. And then if you flip a page before that, you will see the check-in and check-out process, which I will also talk about quickly. So as Kinsey mentioned, being a dorm leader is just as important as being a leader of a group. Being in a dorm, they see you first thing in the morning and last thing when they lay down. You're their safe place for the week and people that they can come to even outside of the people leading their groups. So in your leader book, you will find all the things Kinsey was talking about, why it matters, setting up your dorm, making preparations before they get there. That can look like, I know last year I saw dorm leaders putting like signs on the mirrors of "you matter, you look beautiful this morning, you're gonna have a great day," just encouraging things that they're reading when they're looking in the mirror, especially our girls, but I know guys go through this too. They don't always feel confident when they look at themselves in the mirror. So when they're reading things about themselves that are positive before they walk out, they're feeling confident for the day. They're not worried about what they look like, or how they may have felt when they woke up, but now they're feeling confident to go out and learn and be ready for what God has for them. That also looks like making sure that things are stocked in the dorm every day. If they aren't stocked, letting Adine know, letting me know, letting Amanda know, letting us know so we can get those things to you and making sure that they're ready, so the kids don't have to worry about that. That's not something they should have to worry about. It continues on, all the things that you need to know. It talks about rest time as well, whenever they're in there, things that you can do with them before they begin their rest and just how important that is, as well as a bedtime routine, making sure that you're praying with them, taking time to decompress the day with them, and what happens when our campers are missing home. We will definitely have some of those at some point, and so just making sure that we know what to do before that comes. That way we're not standing there staring at a crying kid, unsure of what to do. We already have it right here. And then closing and checkout procedures, I'll talk about that as well. So as I said, being a dorm leader is so important, and that starts as soon as our campers get there. They're gonna come through check-in. That is on here, all of the different positions that you will have, the flow as soon as they walk in, who's going to be there. There's somebody for each week. Look to see who that is on your check-in and check-out process for whichever week or both weeks that you will be there. They'll be greeted. They'll either go to a line with meds or no meds. If they go with meds, they'll see the nurse, get lice temp checked. If they don't have meds, they'll go to the bathrooms down the hallway in the basement, and they will get their lice and temp check there, and then head to registration, payment, and dorms where Chris Owsley and whoever else they have at the camp working, they take care of all of that. So we do not. Praise the Lord. And then once they get registration, they'll head out to see the deans, whoever that is, for that week. We have 4 for middle school and 2 for 812 week. And then they will head towards their dorms. We'll have people ready, whoever's on here. Make sure if your name's on there, you know where you're supposed to be. Directing where the dorms are. That means if you don't know where the dorms are, you need to get there early and find out where the dorms are and what their names are. Because if you don't know where the dorms are, then our campers won't know where to go either. As soon as the campers get to the dorm, there should be somebody, which they are assigned on here as well, standing outside of the dorm to greet them. I'm so excited you're here. I can't wait to spend this week with you. What's your name? Have you been to camp before? And sending them inside to meet the dorm parent that is in there, also assigned on that sheet. And help that person's in there greeting as well, having them find a bunk, helping them pick if they want top or bottom, getting their name tag on the end of their bunk, and just making them feel welcome, but also making the parents feel comfortable with where their children are going to be staying. The people that are assigned for being inside and outside of the dorm will also be doing that for checkout. So make sure that you are ready for that as well. You're outside when parents come to pick their kids up, and whoever's inside will make sure that the parents sign out their child, and then making sure they have all of their belongings when they leave. If you are not assigned to anything specific for either week, for check-in, you need to be up and down the hill, going from the dining hall all the way down to the dorms, encouraging them, asking them what they need help. Do you need help carrying bags? Do you need help knowing where your dorm is? Maybe somebody didn't get them as they were headed out, so they don't know where they're going. So if you don't have a specific place, there is a place for you, and that is not wandering around in La La Land. It's focusing on our campers and being present for them as well. At the end of the check-in page, there's a map of the entire process that you can see. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the steps that they go through, so you'll know where to send them if they do not know where they're going. All right.
Hello, my name is Mark Mobley. I'm the CEO of Commission Encounter. And Commission Encounter exists to help people fulfill the Great Commission that Christ calls us to do through short-term mission trips, and we work with those in full-time mission work to spread the love of Christ. The following pictures and clips I hope will give you a glimpse of what we can do and what God has been doing through us in Honduras, Barbados, and the Appalachian area. Hope you enjoy.
What you're going to be a part of is kingdom work that's going to have generations of impact.
Commissioner Counter was very helpful, where from the first meeting we meet where Commissioner Counter put stuff in place for me and Stephanie on the trip.
So basically, Commission Encounter exists to show people that not only do we love them, but so does Jesus.
It's a yay! Jesus
Hi, my name is Mandy. I'm here representing Commission Encounter with Wonder Valley for the summer. As you can probably tell by our video, we do short-term mission trips. So we do them in Barbados, Honduras, and the Appalachia area of Eastern Kentucky. Actually, since we filmed this video, we've also added Arizona. We go to an Indian reservation out there, and we are in the process of adding Brazil and Uganda as well. The other half of what we do is called, we call it missionary care. So we do full-time missionary care with our associates abroad in Barbados and in Honduras. So what that entails is just helping them facilitate their full-time ministry in those areas. Basically just so that our mission trips are actually beneficial and not just like hit and run, like we're not gonna go build a house and then leave, or go and do this and then leave and make it more exhausting than productive. So we help facilitate their ongoing ministry, but then on a personal and spiritual level, just connecting with them and pursuing relationships with them. And actually, Rob, you saw him talk there a little bit. So I'll be here for middle school week, but for 812 week, Rob, our missionary from Honduras, will be up here. So some of you guys will get to meet him, and he'll have his little girl with him as well. So that's kind of the gist of what Commission Encounter does. A little bit about me. CJ's my brother, so it's okay. I love camp. I grew up going to Wonder Valley. That's such an understatement. I grew up about 3 miles away from Wonder Valley, and I was there like any chance I possibly got. My favorite week was definitely middle school week. I think I went like a year before I was supposed to because my mom was faculty, and then I went every year I could as a camper, and then I immediately came back as faculty. I was baptized during middle school week, and it's definitely one of my favorite weeks, so I'm really excited to be able to come back. I was thrilled when we found out we were going to be at Wonder Valley this summer. And actually, it was at middle school week that I decided to go into missions, and no, not as a middle schooler. As CJ was talking about earlier, sometimes in the worship set and the messages, I know we're there to serve the kids, but we'd be lying if we said we don't get something out of it too, right? So I remember I was 19, and that week was about discipleship. So all week we were talking about Matthew 28, making disciples, and I was kind of going through like a time of like, I don't know what God wants me to do. And I remember the last night of camp, I was just thinking the whole time, and I remember that was when I went up to my brother CJ and I said, that's it, this is it, I'm gonna do missions. And of course then I didn't know what that would look like, but I'd like to think that came from camp and just makes me excited to come back. So I won't be like super cliche and say my favorite part of camp was the mission time. Everybody knows the best part of camp is campfire. Just let that rest. I did really like the mission time though. I remember just loving listening to all the stories and the adventures people were having. And I remember saying, I can't wait till I grow up and I can do something like that. So one of those stories I remember specifically, no idea what the mission was, no idea who the guy was, nothing. But he was telling a story about going to Africa. And he was saying that they went into this local's house and they were saying they were going to give them goat soup. And he was saying he bit into it, and there was a bunch of goat fur still on it. And then we had lunch. None of us were appetized, but we all remember that story, so maybe it was good, maybe not. But I remember just saying to myself, I can't wait to grow up so I can do something like that. I can't wait to grow up to go to Africa or go to this country or have all these awesome adventures for Jesus. Like, that sounds so cool, but I got to grow up first. So going off of that, what we want to do at camp this year is to not only talk about our mission and what we do, of course we're going to do that, but showing kids how they can do missions now. They don't have to wait to grow up. So we want to give them opportunities throughout the week to both learn what they could maybe do at home and also like opportunities at camp. So a couple things we're going to do is like have them pick up some trash during the camp. Hey, that's a mission project, good job. Or writing an encouraging note to somebody on staff or to a friend that might be struggling or homesick. Missions can look different for everybody, and so does ministry. So we want to show them that they can do that now. And one of the thing I'm the most excited about is in December, we're partnering with Wonder Valley to do a mission trip to the Appalachia area of Eastern Kentucky, like you saw in the video. That'll be for junior and high school students in December. So for each of the junior and senior high school weeks of camp, we're going to give away a mission trip. So we'll have them have a space where they can fill out some information and turn it in. And then at the end of camp each week, we'll draw a name, and that camper will get to go on a mission trip for free. And not only the kids, but we're going to do the same thing with the adults all summer, because every week of camp needs faculty. So we're going to do the same thing with the adults all summer. And at the end of summer, we'll draw 4 names of adults who will also be able to go on the mission trip for free. So that's a little bit of who we are and what we do. I'm really excited to hang out with you guys, and thanks for letting me come.
I'm the other Amanda for the week. So 1 Amanda, 2 Amanda. Hi. I'm going to walk through the schedule. So if you want to open your schedule, I think it's like page 2 or 3 in there. Real quick, we're going to touch through some of the things. I know you guys know how to read, so we're not going to do everything on there, but I want to give you some points where you can win. Set your campers, your family, your dorm kids up for the win for the day, and yourselves. Okay? So for both weeks, the schedule is essentially the same. Thursday might look slightly different between middle school and 812 week, but not enough to put different schedules out. So starting with Sunday, registration, Jamie already went over it. Be in your spot with a smile and help those kids and the parents be comfortable with leaving their kiddos behind. We have a great responsibility to take care of them. As a parent, it is terrifying to leave my child with somebody. And some of us, they're leaving kids that they don't know any of us. So they are trusting in God and trusting in us. So be worthy of that. Okay? Then you're going to get started. Dinner, sit with the people you don't know. Find some kiddos not from your church, because it's probably going to be open seating at dinner. Make a new friend. When you get your family and you're building your team, let your campers do it. We all have really fun, creative ideas, but it's not about us this week. So give your campers room to do what they want, even if it's kind of silly. That's okay. It's middle school week and high school week. Let them run with it. If nobody's coming up with an idea, help them, but give them room first to do it. Then when you do the presentation, be creative, participate with them, but again, let them do it, whatever it is they're looking to do. Make sure that in the worship time, when you move to it, lead within the crowd, spread out, stay close to your family, but be participating yourself. Some of these kids may have never been in church. They don't know what worship looks like, what it means. Watch for those kiddos. Make sure they're comfortable. They're not sitting by themselves, scared and lonely. Find them. Make them feel better. Same with campfire prep. Model what it should look like. Long sleeves, pants if it's getting chilly, bug spray. Share with the kids if they need it. Do not spray inside the dorms. Go outside. Help them. It's the first night. They're super excited, but they don't know what's going on. If it's their first week of camp, they need to know. Tell them what's going on. In campfire, lead within the crowd. Spread out if we have room. Show them what it is. Participate, but also keep them focused. Don't let little chatterings happen on or anything like that. Then family time, it's going to be your first time really bonding with your family at campfire. A really good thing you can do that night is roses and thorns. Favorite thing of the day, one thing they maybe didn't like so much for the day. Lead yourself first, have your junior faculty go. It's just a way to get people talking about what happened in their day. Get ready for bed, model what you want in your dorm. If you want them to brush their teeth and get in PJs, that's what you need to do. Get them in bed. They're going to be super excited, but we got to get some sleep in those kids because we are going to have a big day the next day. Monday through Thursday, looking at that, bring a backpack. If you are a family leader, bring a backpack. Carry things with you. Carry your water bottle. Bring extra pens. Have paper. Put your Bible in there. Your campers might have an EpiPen or something. It's a good place to put it. Bring bandanas for your family if you want to. Backpacks will save your life, right? Family leaders are shaking their heads. I've been here before. Wake up. Wake them up with love, like we talk about in the binder, but get them out of bed and moving, gently but firmly. Give them time. 10 minutes, we'll be walking out the door. They're going to ring the bell in 5. Prep them with what they need for the day. Let's look at the schedule. We won't be back in here until this time, so we need to bring this, this, and this. Make sure they have that stuff. If they don't, help them find it. Going to breakfast, flagpole, participate. It's silly and it's early in the morning and we haven't had our coffee yet. I know, we don't want to do stretches and sing about Joe and the Button Factory. But if you're not doing it, the campers won't do it. So spread out and try to participate, even if you really just want a cup of coffee. Tag team with your family leaders or your dorm leaders to go get that cup of coffee if you need it. And never let your campers out of the dorm until you hear the bell. That is very, very important. There's monsters outside they can't see, right? Just pretend. They can't leave those doors until that bell rings. Free time in the morning is our faculty meeting. We will be upstairs on the porch by the swings and stuff. So prep your campers at breakfast that they need to be within eyesight and earshot of that front porch. If we cannot see them or they can't hear us, they should not be there. It will be much easier if you prep that beforehand and tell them what's going on. Okay? At that free time faculty meeting, you'll get info for the day. We'll talk about evening activity. We'll do a small devotional. We'll pray, things like that. If you have questions, that'll be a place where you probably get most of your answers. Leads into family devotions. So like when you leave breakfast, tell your campers, you're going to free time. You have to be within an eye shot of the porch. But when you hear the bell, we're going to our family location, which is in the gazebo to the right of the pool. Prep them with what's coming. They don't know all these things, and their schedule might be weird to them. They don't know what family devotions is if they've not been to camp. Okay. Again, worship, model what you want and lead, give them room to talk. Free time, make sure that you're available to sit at the dorm doors if you need to. They can't go in the dorms without us. Rest time, quiet. We need the campers quiet. It'll be hard the first day or two. You're going to be tired, but they aren't. It's very important, though, to give them activities they can do quietly and ideas, but let them rest. They'll need it. But also give them time to prep. Don't sleep until you hear the bell, because then they're going to be rushing around to put a bathing suit on or something. Give them 10 or 15 minutes. You're about to go to rec. Your family leader talked to you about it at lunch. You know where you're supposed to go. We will be going out to the chapel to find our family leader and then going to that area. Give them the instructions that they'll need. Rec times, participate if you can. Be there with your campers, but make sure your cup is also filled. It's a good time to take a nap yourself if you need to in the dorm. You can go down to the faculty area, get some coffee, get some rest, kind of just sit in some quiet, but make sure our campers are able to do what they want. So if they want to be in the pool, if they want a gaga pit, when they're wanting to go to recs, go on and cheer with them. Cheer them on even if you're not doing it. Be there with them, but fill your cup too. Clean up, again, stay in your dorm. Give them things to do if they're getting bored. Delegate whatever it needs to be. Play a silly game, clean up a little bit, learn each other's names in the dorm, but keep them inside. You will get your mail at dinner in your family. Give it to your campers, they can open it there, and then they're gonna go back to the dorms to grab stuff for worship so they can put it back in their bed and not lose it. If it's food, it can't go back to the dorm, it needs to stay in the cafeteria. We can put it in a bag for them for canteen. Make sure that you're reading your campers what do they need during family time. It's going to look different every day. And every family is going to be a little different. So do your kids need prayer time? Do they need talks about Jesus? Do they need wiggle time and to play a fun game and we can talk later? Read what your campers need and give it to them. Make sure that last family time after campfire, recap the day and the lessons you've learned. Roses and thorns can be used all week long, but recap the day. Talk about how you can take it outside of camp. What will it look like when we go home, when we pour ourselves out, or we're worthy, or God's worthy? Take that and kind of solidify it for the day. Also, star that time. Last year, that is when we had all the issues, right? Everything comes out at that time. They've been thinking about it all day. They just had this very moving Vespers lesson in worship, and it's going to come out. Emotions will be high. That's why we have our counselor, Kinsey, who's going to come up in just a minute for middle school week. For 812, you have Jackie and Jake if you need them. But these are the moments that your campers might need a little more help than just what we can give them, okay? And that's why we're there. Come find us and we will do whatever we need to do. But just be prepared. You're tired, and that's when things are going to happen. So push through for 20 more minutes for us, and we'll get you to bed, okay? Same thing for bedtime. Get them in bed. Model what you want. Time limits. You've got 5 minutes in the shower, 10 minutes for turning the lights off, getting your PJs, those kinds of things. Only things for for bedtime. Watch out for fear and homesickness. You're going to start to see that in your kiddos. They're going to drag their feet as they go to brush their teeth. They're going to fight about taking a shower. There's a reason behind that. Every action actually has something else that's going on. So let's figure out what it is. There's good examples of how to handle that in your binder. If you need more help, come find one of the deans or any of us will help you with that. On Friday morning, that is your last family devotional. Give the kids time to share their contact information if they want to. Share yours if you're comfortable doing that. They will forget, and then they will scramble and not get it and be sad when they're trying to leave. Give them time during that area. In the clean dorms part, delegate. Point to a child and say, Whitney, you are going to clean the shower stall. And CJ, you will take the trash out. And Mandy, you will clean the toilet so that it gets done. It's a long list. It doesn't all have to happen. But if you delegate to specific people in teams, it's more likely to happen versus, hey, girls, we all need to do this. Point to them. Make it happen. Okay? Any questions, quick questions about schedule because we've got like a minute. Mm-hmm. So real quick, in case you guys couldn't hear, the video couldn't hear, Heather suggests at bedtime, once they're in bed, one of the leaders sits down and quietly reads a story to them or verses from the Bible, something with the lights out, and the campers fall asleep real fast. So that's a great idea. If you need help finding those stories or anything, let us know. We'll help facilitate that. Okay. All right, and now it's time for Kinsey. She's going to do a listen well training.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys tonight? Hello. Sorry I was late to the party. I was putting down my little ones for bed, but I was listening in on the live stream. It's been some great information presented this evening. We only have about 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to be really brief, but I wanted to provide some information to you about how to listen well and how to build trusting relationships with our campers, which is really one of the most important things about this week of camp. So last session, last 10 minutes, lean in and try to engage here. So just very briefly, like I said, my name is Kenzie Hutton. My husband, Jordan Hutton, is one of the deans. I am a licensed clinical social worker. Much of my professional career has been serving individuals who have attachment challenges, meaning they have gone through experiences where they did not have trusting relationships. And so we're teaching those individuals what it means to trust people, to have good, healthy relationships with others, and then empowering the people around those individuals about how do you build a trusting relationship with this person that's had some really difficult experiences. So I want to take that knowledge and apply it to the camp scenario. Our primary focus at this week of camp is to lead students to a deeper relationship with Christ. That's our goal. That's our primary focus this week. But to accomplish that, we have to build trusting relationships with each camper that's entrusted to us. So I was thinking about this on the way over here, actually, and Carly and I have served together on a family before. I know Carly. I follow her on social media. We have a, surface level relationship. We know each other, acquaintances. But if Carly were to come to me and say, Kinsey, tell me about your walk with Jesus. What are the things that really trip you up? Where's the sin in your life right now? I would very kindly say to Carly, you've crossed a boundary. However, if Amanda or Whitney or Kelsey Bigelow were to ask me that, they've earned the right to ask me that. Why? Because I have a trusting relationship with them. Because they've been with me in the hardest moments of my life. They've stood next to me in those gaps. They've earned the right to do that. So we cannot go into Sunday night expecting that from our campers. We cannot say to them, hey, tell me about your walk with God, and expect them to be an open book, because we haven't earned the right to ask them that. So what we have to do is be very intentional in a very exaggerated way, building trusting relationships so that we can get to the good stuff, right? So that we can have conversations about Jesus. So how do we do that? There are some basics of connection that probably sound really simple, but if you're not thinking about it, you might forget to do it. So firstly, be really intentional about getting to know each student. There's some physical things you can do. So get down on eye level, right? So if you're in family time and your students are sitting, don't stand and tower over them as you talk to them. Sit with them. Get on eye level. Take your sunglasses off. I'm real bad about that in the summertime because I feel like my eyes are kind of sensitive. But if you're talking to a camper, take your sunglasses off. Look them in the eyes. Be intentional about your body positioning, your tone of voice, your cadence, how you are just paying attention to them right there in front of you. So those are some just simple things that you can do right away. And then slow down and really listen to them. Ask them questions about the things that they're interested in, their hobbies. Do they play a sport? Do they have siblings? What kind of things do they like to do? Get to know those things about them. And if you struggle to remember those kind of details, write them down. Write them in a journal. And then in a later conversation, make reference to that thing that you know. And in doing that, you are telling them and letting them know that you know them, right? Like you took the care and the time to not only ask them about them, like their life, but you remembered it and you committed that to memory and you are invested in learning more about that, right? So be intentional about learning those things, incorporating those things into your conversation. That will build trust quickly. Another thing you can do is find opportunities to say yes. Any chance we can get to say yes to children and youth in our life is a win. And maybe really the answer is not right now, but you can say, yes, I would love to do that with you. First, we're going to do this, right? But you can say yes, but also we're going to do this, right? But find opportunities where you can say yes. I talked about this briefly in last year's training, but if you can, be playful. Some of us just generally have a more playful personality than others. My husband is much more playful than I am, for example. But researchers would tell you it takes 400 repetitions to learn a new thing, 400. But if you learn it in play, it only takes 10 to 20. 400 versus 10 to 20. That's the power of playfulness. So especially at middle school week, but also at high school week, be intentional about being playful in the way that you interact with students whenever you can. This has already been mentioned, but listen to their words, of course, but listen to their actions as well. Amanda started to mention this as well. Every behavior has a need or a function. Behavior is not random. Our behavior is motivated by need or function. So whatever behavior is in front of you, I want you to see that as a method of communication. What is this youth trying to communicate to me through their behavior? They clearly don't have the words to say it. They're saying it through their behavior. So I'm going to be curious about what the actual need is and try my best to meet that need. I'm going to come alongside them with compassionate understanding. Some of you I know have been at some other chats that we've had about mental health, about the way the brain is organized, and flipping your lid, all of those things. So just have some awareness that some brains are different based upon their experiences. and we don't know all the details. So come alongside them with compassionate understanding about their behavior. Know that the behavior is surface level. It is the tip of the iceberg about what's going on. It's the only thing that we see. Everything underneath is the emotions, the needs, what they actually need is under the surface. So just having that mentality is really, really helpful. When we are managing difficult behavior, relationship is paramount. So if there's a child in your family who's having a challenging behavior, first of all, if you need some support in that, ask someone on the leadership team. We'd be happy to help you with that. But relationship is most important in navigating those situations. So whoever has the closest relationship with that child needs to be the one to kind of lead that discussion, because relationship is paramount. They will take direction more willingly from a person that they trust, right? Same as that example that I just gave, right? I'm not gonna respond well to someone asking me, who I don't know very well, about a very personal thing in my life. And especially when we're talking about challenging behaviors, that's a very vulnerable moment for a child. All of us wake up and try our best every day. I believe that. Everybody's trying their best, right? Johnny didn't wake up today thinking, man, I can't wait to give Jake a hard time in family time today. That was not his goal. Johnny is trying his best today. And he's got some stuff going on. And so if you can approach that with compassion and understanding and realize that relationship is really important in that moment. Paying special attention to a few moments throughout the day that I just want to highlight, particularly moments where the brain is overwhelmed. So these may seem like mundane moments throughout the day, but they're actually really important. So if you've got a camper who is dealing with some conflict with peers, happens a lot at middle school week, but probably at high school week too, right? Conflict with peers. To adults, I think there can be a tendency to dismiss it, because the thinking is like, oh, here we go with the teenage drama again. Like, this is so silly and petty, and in 5 years, it's not going to matter. It matters to them. It matters today. And so try not to be dismissive. See how important that is to them, and just sit and listen, and be a listening ear to them, providing biblical counsel in those situations. A kiddo that's scared of the zip line, that doesn't want to go on the zip line, right? We talked about the upstairs and downstairs brain. If you've heard me talk about that at all, you have a child who is fearful. They're in their downstairs brain. If you can show up for that kid in that moment, that is like gold when it comes to building trust for later conversations. If you can show up in those moments when the kid is overwhelmed with emotion, when they're afraid, when they're having a hard time because they're missing home, if you can show up and be intentional in those moments, you can have those conversations you want to have about leading them to Jesus so much more quickly and more easily. It's more comfortable for those kiddos. So please be looking for those opportunities. Every student should be known by at least one faculty member at these weeks of camps. Certainly family members, family leaders, but dorm leaders or junior faculty, every camper should be known by at least one faculty member, if not more than one. So let's be really intentional about doing that. And then when the deeper conversations come, these are the moments that we've been waiting for. Sometimes they're heavy. Sometimes it's more than we thought, right? So in those conversations, firstly, preparing for those conversations, pray for understanding, pray for guidance and wisdom in navigating those situations, and ask your leadership team for help. If you need help, ask a dean, ask an experienced faculty member, share each other's burdens in that, to be able to navigate those conversations. The work of building trust with our campers has to happen so fast. It's like a pressure cooker at camp. In order to get to that place we want to be, we have to be intentional about building trust. And the work of building trust begins the moment that you step on campus, in the way that you carry yourself. Are you approachable? Are you a friendly face to a camper? And I am confident that the Lord is going to use your intentional work with each student to reveal himself. And I'm so thankful that you're serving, so thankful to be serving alongside you. So it's going to be a great week at camp. So thank you guys.
What's up, everybody? Hey, y'all probably don't know who I am. I'm Graham Jones. I'm a dean for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade week, and I will be a family leader for 812, but I just have a couple minutes. I'm the closer tonight. But I just have one little tidbit of information for you, or a suggestion, and that is to look for the interruptions. Brandon Dickerson will say, no, stick to the schedule all the time. But it's in those interruptions that we make those connections, and we're wanting to make those connections, and it might be awkward at first, but you might be able to play basketball or something like that, or be like Jake Ewell who can dunk. They might think that's the coolest thing ever. But whenever you look for those interruptions and you see that, then that's when God moves, and you can speak life into those students. So that's my little tidbit for y'all. Instructions. We're going to go out here in just a minute after we pray. I think there's still sandwiches out there. Is that right? You guys hang out. If we haven't answered all the questions that you have tonight, then please ask. I mean, that's what we're here for. We want to lead you all well, and we're a team together. And so let's make this the best summer at camp yet. All right, so I'm going to pray, and then we can be dismissed, okay? Will everybody bow their heads? Father, I thank you for this opportunity tonight to just workshop camp. Lord, I know that as a person who's been serving at camp for 7 years now, that it's one of the highlights of my year. It's one of the highlights for our family's year and the church as well. But Father, we pray for Wonder Valley tonight. We pray that this summer it can just be a place where students come to know you, to come into a relationship with you, and that we don't get caught up in how smooth the week or the transitions go, but Lord, that we can focus on you in the worship and the teaching and the small groups and everything that we do this week or that week at camp, Lord, that you be glorified in everything. Father, I pray for the students that are going to come on to the Wonder Valley campus, that some may have a relationship with you, some may not. But Lord, I pray that we engage every student the same, Lord, with love, with intentionality, with compassion, because Lord, we don't know what they're walking away from that week. And Lord, most of all, well, not most of all, but a big time one, Lord, I pray for the volunteers. I know it's a big ask to leave work or your house or family for a week, Lord, but I pray that you just continue to energize us, and Lord, in the mundaneness of the week, Lord, that we can just be energized by you. Lord, I pray that we go from this place tonight, and that we can just have a great night. It's in your heavenly name we pray. Amen. Thanks, guys. Peace out. Should I sing a song? No, I'm just kidding. No. What? Oh.